And good evening. Hello, everybody. Hey, what a day, eh? It's Monday. Oh, yes, Monday. Here we go again. Here we go again. Monday. Hope everybody's well and doing okay. Don't forget, leave your comments in the right hand side, please. If you've got any comments, if you've got anything to ask, please leave them in there. Any messages or anything. Yeah, so we got no, not yet. So we got tonight we got the one and only uh, Susan Lee. She'll be here in a minute, hopefully, and I nearly forgotten. But anyway, don't tell her we're here. Don't tell her I forgot. Anyway, so she'll be on shortly. And guess what? Guess what? I do not like Mondays, do you? Also, if you'd like to go onto our radio station, I will be so glad to on the radio station. I will kind of like put all the information up in a minute for you on the radio station. So, tonight's topic, everybody, is how do we manage the stress at Christmas? Stress. Christmas is stressful, isn't it? Eh? How do we manage the stress at Christmas? So, um, if you've got any ideas, guys, come over and let me know. Um, okay, so tonight's topic is how do you manage the stress at Christmas? How do you manage the stress at Christmas? Stressful, it is Christmas time, isn't it? Everybody's hurrying to get Christmas presents and we'll say it again, Christmas presents and stuff. And, and they're rushing around, I remember years ago when I was a little boy, I used to look forward to Christmas, but I don't now because I should do really, but I don't really because to me it's just for the little ones, isn't it? Do you, do you agree or disagree? Please leave your messages or your comments in the corner, and we'll get that back together. So, do you agree that Christmas is for the little ones? Do you think Christmas is stressful? Let me know. Okay. Um, um, yeah. So tell me, talk to me about it and let me know. Okay, we got Ailey. Hi, Steve. Hi, Cheryl. Wayne. Um, Haley. Hi, Tom. So yeah. So do you find Christmas stressful? Do you know what? People say to me, right? Um, they say, "Have you got your Christmas tree up yet?" And I say, "No." Well, you should do. The year we had, you know what I mean? You know, and so yeah. So come back and let me know what you think. Do you think Christmas is stressful? Let me know. And also what you're going to get your partner for Christmas. Tell me. Come back and tell me. And yeah, so can you contact Susan for me? Yeah, yeah. So let me know. All right. Okay. Um, can you come in, Sue, please? Um, come in and come out. Yeah. All right, come in then. So anyway, guys. So I'm waiting for Susan Lee to be here in a minute. It's always connection problems we have. Don't worry. And Christmas is a family and friends time. Oh yes. Please, guys, share it. Share this tonight. We're going to talk about the stressful meaning of Christmas tonight. Um, um, you're right. Okay. I'm going to yeah, just going to send a link again. Please. Mm, mm. Hey,
Hey, success.
what happens?
I don't know. I logged in about 3 minutes to and just sat there waiting. Came out, came back in again. Still sat, and it says I'm waiting. I'm sat backstage. Only you can see me.
I
Uh,
can't even, I can't even see you, honestly.
oh well. Anyway, it's on the screen. It just says only the host can see you. So I did that a couple of times. Anyway, this again. So we're here. We're here.
Yeah, we're here. Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening. I really want to talk about stress at Christmas time, basically.
Yeah.
I was reading something from your. I always get the ideas from from Susan's. She writes a lot of stuff, and I get her stuff. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't tell her. Anyway, but what? And the meaning of stress at Christmas because we've been told now that that we can meet, but it's it's good. I don't know. It's going to be stressful enough, isn't it? And the trouble is, Christmas is not far away now, is it?
23rd today, 23rd of November, so about a month, isn't it? But I
That's it.
think also because whatever's happening, we're told all sorts of different things. It changes from one day to the next, from one week to the next. Then we're told if you meet at Christmas, there's going to be a payback. You're going to have to stay indoors after. There's all sorts of things that are very scaremongering and fear inducing, and we're worried to death about the implications. So, stress anyway at Christmas is it is quite high. And, lots of reports say more couples file for divorce in the first few weeks of January than at any other time of the year. And so, anyway, there's financial stress. A lot of couples who are in straitened circumstances really want to compensate and buy lots of gifts for the kids or make sure everything's perfect. So, and then, I think the Archbishop of Canterbury intervened 2 years ago saying, look, some couples are taking 3 years to pay back the money that they've borrowed or incurred on credit cards and things like that to cover Christmas. So financially, emotionally, hothoused with in-laws normally, it's tough enough anyway. This
Mm,
year, I think Christmas possibly might have a renaissance, a rebirth, where we actually strip it right back to what's important. I know near where I live, loads of houses have already got the lights outside. Loads of people are saying they've bought the trees already. They're up, they're decorated.
mm,
So people are desperate for some light, some fun, some good feelings, something to look forward to. And so I think we could be in for a, despite what the government and all the stuff that's going on around us and whether the shops are open or not or whatever it might be, I think there could well be a better vibe about Christmas where we perhaps don't spend a load of money on presents. We maybe are sharing it, hopefully, with the people that we care about. If they're too far away or we can't get to see them, we're able to do Zooms and quizzes and carol things on the web, perhaps, if we've got access to that. So potentially there are ways around it that might actually end up
mm.
being quite nice, even if it's not the Christmas we're hoping for, even if it's not the get together. I mean, this coming Thursday is Thanksgiving in America.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
more families go home for Thanksgiving than do for Christmas. And all that is about is a meal, sharing a
yeah,
meal together. And so people travel from all over the country to go and share a meal together. And that is a very special time for them, giving thanks for family, for relationships, for different generations. I hope they can do that this year. So, maybe we will reclaim a little bit of that and inject some of that into our own UK Christmas time this year.
yes. We certainly need it, don't we? We certainly do.
Definitely, definitely.
I was looking at. I'm glad you brought up the divorce because I looked at last Christmas. There were 3,000 divorces over Christmas
Mm,
due to stress. I looked it up, and 3,000 people
mm.
distressed over Christmas. They were
Really?
thinking, and there's one couple I was reading about. Apparently, they didn't get their Christmas presents until 2 days before Christmas, and because of that, they kind of like were rushing around, rushing around. It was stress and it was all sorts going on, and they're not together now. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And it was, it's tough, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and I think sometimes people argue. I think we've talked before about how people argue about the little things, but at that time of the year, at Christmas time of the year, it can be icing on the cake. If we're thinking my partner, look at my partner. It's not about the only buying presents 2 days before Christmas. It can be, I have been running around for weeks, inviting people, delegating, sorting things out, planning menus, cooking in advance, all sorts of, you know, sourcing carols, whatever we're going to be doing the whole time, getting the kids to organize games. And look at you, 2 days before Christmas, you're buying the presents. So it can be that
Mm,
it's not specifically the 2 days before. It's about I don't feel supported. I don't
mm,
feel like my partner is pulling his or her weight. I don't feel like they're caring enough. I don't feel like they're helping me. And so it's not often, it can be that it's about the icing on the cake. It's the things that they're doing or not doing. They're going out for a game of golf or something, and there you are trying to get the potatoes ready
mm,
or organize the wine list or something. And it can be so very frustrating when we feel we're trying to make it lovely and it seems like perhaps it's only me that cares about it. So that, and also there's the thing that most of the year, if we're partnered, we're possibly just exchanging updates. Oh, by the way, can you pick the kids up from riding tomorrow night? Or the dry cleaning
mm,
needs getting, or don't forget, can you get a birthday card for your mum or something? We're just passing on messages and collapsing into bed and going to sleep and then getting up, rinse and repeat the next day. And
mm,
so if we're together over a holiday period or we're together over a long Christmas break and possibly in a overheated house with too much rich food and too much telly, it can be that we get irritable, fed up, fat, ugly, spotty, miserable, cheesed off, can't be bothered. And we're looking at each other with disdain and dismay. And sometimes that's what Christmas is about, that we spent too long together and we look at each other and think, who is this person? And what's all this about? And I need a New Year's resolution. You know what? I'm starting out on my own. And so it can be a really quite irritable time for some people. And we need to navigate ways around that to be more tolerant and patient and support each
mm.
other.
How can we change our attitude towards it then?
Well, I think we have to communicate. I think each person has, I'm being genderist now, but it's usually the women who organise and the men who follow around and do what they're told, possibly. So it can be, and to my partnered couple, but even if we're single and single parents, it can be that we communicate properly. I've
Mm,
got a separated couple at the minute, and she gave him a list of presents that she was buying or her family were buying for their one child in the middle of the beginning of November. And this guy is trying to run a business and it's difficult for him. And he was saying, my gosh, they're buying all these crazily expensive presents. And I'm thinking of getting him a Lego set, and not even a big one. So it's we have to perhaps be a little bit more compassionate, perhaps be a little bit more patient if we're living together, saying, what can I do to help? And if the other, and if the other person's flying off the handle, say, you know, don't do this, let's sit down and talk about it when you're free, or something. But keeping communication open, being patient, sometimes not needing to be asked, sometimes seeing what needs to be done, and talking it through, and finding a time when it's convenient for both of you. So not when you're both crashing in from work tired and shopping and the meal needs prepping and the kids need doing whatever they need doing, but finding a time where you've got half an hour together, maybe on a Saturday afternoon or something, to say, right, let's talk about what we are doing this Christmas. And she might say, right, I want to get a load of ordinary food pre-prepared, because people get fed up of cream and sauces and stuffings and things. So getting a few hot pots or casseroles or whatever soups and things in the pre-prepared and in the freezer, that can be a welcome change over Christmas. And it's certainly a lot less expensive than some of the options that are around. And people welcome that. They've gone out for a walk, they come back, it's cold, they're looking forward, crusty bread and, I don't know, meat and potato pie and red cabbage, whatever it can be. Sometimes these things can be real treats at that time of the year. And you can incorporate it with exercise and fresh air and just talking and sharing and being more receptive,
How can someone be, how can someone celebrate Christmas if they're on their own? This is.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm on my own, and I'll go and see my elderly mum, and that's okay. But I think sometimes we have to rein it back in. It's one day. It's one day. That's all it is. So stop it. Don't get too highfalutin about it. And that goes to partnered people too. But it's one day. Sort it out and just think to yourself. So if you are on your own and you're not going to necessarily be seeing anybody, plan ahead. Right, what are my favorite foods? What do I like? And a lot of people aren't going to want to sit down to a roast, so they might, what I call bits, getting a bit of hummus and a bit of pate and some bread in, and what nice things that you like that are treats for you. Get a small bottle of fizz, perhaps, or beer. Sort out what's on the telly. It doesn't matter if there's some rubbishy films or it's Morecambe and Wise again or Mary Poppins again or something. Just watch some of the things, sort it out, get your music sorted. Get a book that you like to read, decide you're going to light those candles that have been in the cupboard for months, those scented candles, have a soaky, bubbly bath, treat yourself with a bit of kindness. And again, and maybe sort out doing a few phone calls or Zoom calls or text messages or whatever. And if your neighbours say, come round for a glass of sherry, go. You can do that for 10 minutes or something, or have them back to yours, or people round, or whatever. But be receptive to invitations, be receptive to thinking about it and making plans. But as I say, it is only one day, so we don't have to stress about it unduly. We don't have to get in too much of a depressed state about it.
No, I know someone today who I was talking to, and she was worried about money and stuff because she is now, lost a job because of the. And I said, look, all you, I've done one thing for the last 6 weeks when I was talking to you, and and it's this: do not panic, do not worry about anything. All you do, if you haven't got very much money, start making something, do some art and crafts, make a frame, put a picture in it. It's a gift. You know what I mean?
I got one of those for my birthday the other week. A
Yeah.
friend of mine had painted a little picture, made the frame. I was more thrilled with it than I would have been some fabulous print. But the other thing, of course, it is a gorgeous opportunity at this time of the year as well, that can be much valued rather than a expensive bottle of booze or a perfume or something, is almost thinking about vouchers. If you've got friends who've got children, offer 2 nights babysitting or a weekend stopover with them. Or you have a friend who needs a meal, say, right, I'll cook you and your partner dinner one evening and I'll bring it round and serve it and do the washing up. Or I'll help you with your gardening. Or I'll help you declutter the box room or the garage or something. There can be things that we can do that actually are more thoughtful and are more valuable to the recipient than expensive 20, 30, £50 worth of gifts that actually really are thought about and will be received with thanks. And a couple of nights babysitting or something, some couples would snatch your hand off because they know you, you know the kids. It's
mm.
great to have somebody they trust and able to go out for a walk together or a afternoon cup of coffee or even an evening out for a meal if we're able to.
There you go, guys. Susan said she's free for babysitting.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. The trouble is, so see, it's so honestly, it is. It's been stressful for a long time, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Christmas, and we just keep on thinking about it and thinking about it, and I was just talking before you came on, and I was talking about when I was a little boy, and I could hear my mum and dad kind of like, you know, arguing in the background about talking about, I want to get this and get that. We haven't got Christmas presents yet. And it's just some people had loads of presents, and when I was younger, we didn't have many, and we
Mm.
had to go by what we had. They
And
had to.
I think that's one thing to remember as well that isn't often mentioned is that if we tell our children that if they're good, Father Christmas is going to come to your house and your kiddies get a tangerine and a baseball or something, and the kid next door gets brand new tech that costs hundreds of pounds and sports kit, what's that child going to think? And I think sometimes there is an argument for saying to your children, actually, mummy and daddy or whoever, give those presents to Father Christmas and he delivers them to your house so that
Mm,
they understand that if one kid is getting hundreds of pounds worth of fabulous gifts and they're getting hand me downs or
mm,
whatever, hardly anything at all. It's not because they're naughty or bad or undeserving. It's because of where these things come from. We need
mm,
sometimes to just remember that children will be looking at what they get and what next door get and
mm,
be feeling judged on that or
mm,
differentiated against. So, maybe find a way to say to your children, actually we send the Christmas presents to Father Christmas and he comes round on Christmas evening or whatever and delivers them to the house. That's
mm,
where they come from. It's not about you being good or bad or them better or worse or whatever. Understanding and helping them feel okay about what they're receiving and grateful for what they're receiving.
mm. It's just showing kindness, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and being thoughtful because it's often parents aren't thoughtless. It's that they really don't realize. I mean, those parents who have quite a lot of money and they can pretty well buy what they want, or they scrape around and manage to do it. They're not bad parents. It's just that they're having to that they're what's the word, spending the party line. They're telling the
Mm,
kids what normally they expect to hear. But interesting, there's another thing about this is that IKEA did a survey. I think it was in 2018. The shop did a survey, and they asked a load of children. I think it was a couple of hundred children to write a letter to Father Christmas saying what they actually wanted to receive. So these kids sat down and they wrote this letter to Father Christmas detailing all the gifts that they wanted of Father Christmas, right the way through the whole lot, everything. And then the survey people said, will you write another letter now to your parents and ask them for what you would like from them, whether it's
mm,
time, experiences, days out, playing games together, whatever it might be. What would you like from your parents? And so the kids sat down and did that. And then afterwards, the people said, okay, if you could only send one letter, which one would you send? And 100% of those children said the one to their parents. And it's just a reminder that, yes, if kids are given the opportunity to get loads of things, and people who have divorced parents will know this. One parent sometimes has more money than the other, and they will play. Children will take the expensive gifts and trainers and trips away and leather
mm,
jackets and tech. Of course they will. But at the same time, they're not daft. And kids will know that the parent who does everything for them, makes them sandwiches every day, gets them to
mm,
school on time in clean clothes, they know that that's love. and and
mm,
and yes, they will go for the gifts and the special treats, of course they will, but they're not daft, they know. And I think sometimes explaining to kids, instead of gifts this year, going to have a day trip to the zoo, or I'm going to take you to the beach, or we're going to have a treasure hunt on Boxing Day, or we're going to go
Yeah.
and get loads of leaves and acorns and do scrapbooks or bird watching or fishing or something. We're going to do all those different things, and giving your children experiences sometimes is a lot more valuable, a lot more meaningful, a lot more loving than sometimes putting yourself through the mill and spending money that you've not got and worrying about it for months afterwards.
Mm.
Doing something different this year, particularly, could be really worthwhile doing.
Mm. And the trouble is, then people get into debt, don't
For
they?
sure.
Because
Yeah,
they get into debt
yeah.
because they're so worried, and that's another worry on top of it, isn't it?
Absolutely, particularly if you don't know where your job situation is going to be. I mean, we don't know whether this is ending at Christmas or spring or next summer. So, we've got to be a little bit pragmatic and just plan and just take it a step at a time and only give what you can afford. And as I say, tailor it this year, but talk, communicate, explain
Mm.
to the kids, explain to your partner, sit down and have conversations about what you want and don't want, what you can and can't do,
Mm.
what ways you want to help, and that can make all the difference. So sourcing free entertainments is another thing. Heck of a lot of stuff can be done
Mm.
relatively free. Checking out if there are going to be carol services. Are they going to be on Zoom? Are you going to do one with your friends on Zoom? What about that treasure
Mm.
hunt? What about that walk on Christmas Day morning or Boxing Day or whatever it might be? And doing things like that can make a big difference and get you out of the house, give you some fresh air, and then
Mm.
you can come back to something that's been slow cooking while you've been out, or soups and hot chocolate, and doing things like that that really make it a little bit more special and take a lot of the pressure off, a lot of the stress out of it.
Mm. Mm. In your job, you must see a lot of people that are sometimes at this time of year get really stressed out. Do you get a lot of people come to you and you get stressed out because of Christmas?
Not specifically because of Christmas, because I think, as I said, the phrase I used earlier on, the icing on the cake, sometimes people who are stressed out about their relationship, or
Mm.
they're stressed out because the in-laws potentially are coming and they can't stand the in-laws, or they find that their partner sides with their own mother or father more than they do with them, and then they feel alienated, or they feel
Mm.
like the servant running around saying, would you like more of this, or can I get you a
Mm.
drink, or whatever it might be. So it can be symptomatic of problems in the relationship. And
Mm.
so January, when a lot of people are coming into land and they're saying, I'm not going through that again, and I've looked at my partner, I don't particularly like him or her anymore. Yeah, it can be an identifier that there are other stresses and issues and concerns within a relationship. So yeah, get lonely people who are single, first time
Mm.
without the children, first time on their own, perhaps, whether it's a bereavement or a divorce, or they're just literally distanced, for various reasons. So they've lost a pet or something like that. There can be lots of reasons why people feel bereft at this time
Mm.
of the year, because when you look round and it just looks like everybody is having a whale of a time. And I know the Christmas ads this year on the television have toned right down, but normally, there's sleighs going through the sky and
Mm.
everybody's wandering around with bows in their hair and
Mm.
singing and smiling at each other gleefully. It can be, it can really underline how miserable you feel. You lose perspective of saying, hey, this is a sanitized marketing ploy. It's, rather than, this isn't real life, honey. It's like, get a grip. And sometimes people need to just reflect back that this is about selling stuff. It's about selling products. It's about emptying the shelves. Don't fall for it. Just rein it in, settle down. But yeah, I do get people coming because they're feeling
Mm.
lonely or fed up or stressed out, or whatever it might be, because of circumstances, what they're going to do and all that kind of thing, wanting it. I mean, perfectionism is a big thing. Want it to be perfect. Well,
Mm.
what does that mean? How many people, most people in my experience, 2 hours after they've served the Christmas lunch, discover a pan either on the stove or in the oven with vegetables in it that they forgot to serve. So,
Yeah.
everybody does pretty well, don't they?
Mm,
And
mm,
that's the thing people remember with affection. That's the
yeah.
thing people laugh
Yeah.
about afterwards. Granny falling asleep in the eggnog, or, you know, uh, the kids running off and playing with the boxes rather than the actual gift. They enjoying the boxes more than the actual
Mm,
presents.
mm,
These are the things that make it memorable, that the things that go wrong or the things that don't work out as planned.
yeah. If we get people on here, who are kind of like really feeling it at the moment, it's really depressed and everything. Um, I usually say to people either contact Samaritans or other organisations and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, um, and what do you suggest? Do you suggest what would you say to people?
I think sometimes it can be, if you're feeling particularly lonely or alone, why not look into volunteering too? Yes,
Yeah.
there are phone lines, helplines that we can use. Yes, it may be, if you let people know, not in a pathetic way, but if you let people know that you're on your own, it's often the case that somebody will say, "Come and join us." We've done that as a family in the past. My dad had a lad working with him years ago, and he invited him to us because he was from France, and he said, "Come
Mm,
come to us on Christmas Day," and he did, and it was
mm,
lovely, and
mm,
it was made a change. But
mm.
I also think that it can be that we really ramp these things up far too much more than they need to be. But being on your own isn't the end of the world, and sometimes allowing it to be what it is and a much more relaxed experience is a good thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Susan. Thank you very much for that.
It's my
It goes
pleasure.
it goes so quick,
I
doesn't it?
know, I know it does. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Thank you
excellent.
so thank you so much for your
My
time
pleasure.
and
Loads of articles on my website as well. Just enjoy looking at them if you need to. But as I say, volunteering can be a great thing to do over Christmas. A lot of the charities, the food banks, the animal shelters, you may find if you volunteer, give a bit of your time, you find it a very rewarding way to help other people and maybe make a few friends while you're at it. It can be a lovely way to spend your Christmas day.
thank you very much. Thank you for
My
your
pleasure.
advice.
My
Thank you.
pleasure.
You take care. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
There you go. That was Susan Lee. And I always like her when she comes on because she gives good advice. I love it. Anyway, let's have a look at some messages here. I am listening to Steve just now. Do I need to go off and come back in? And when am I due to using the link? Right, okay. So, uh, right, okay. So, Tom, I will send you a link in a minute. Hi, Ailey. Christmas is usually from time. Okay, folks, I'm off. Bye bye. Is it? Okay.